hopefully a lot of community members will come up to mark World AIDS Day, which will be celebrated on a national level here in Port Elizabeth. But I'm lucky to be joined this morning by our Deputy President, KgalemaMotlanthe. So thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Deputy President, what hat will you wear today? Will you wear the hat of Deputy President or the hat that you are the Chairman of the South African National AIDS Council?
I'm here in my capacity as the Chairperson of the South African National AIDS Council.
Deputy President, could you perhaps share with us, Jacob Zuma is going to release his new 4-year plan, and we've 5-year plan. We've been applauded for how well we've done from certain sectors. Where will the room for improvement come? In what areas?
Well, in the main, we expect great improvements in terms of stemming new infections. We think we've done sufficient mobilization as well as coordination with all stakeholders, and that is why the slogan that we adopted is that, South Africa takes responsibility, I take responsibility as an individual. So we'd like that to assist in stemming the tide of new infections.
This week running in Port Elizabeth, a big international conference on HIV and AIDS, and within that conference there was a section from higher education where they're targeting our 23 higher learning educations, the universities. How important is it at that level to bring across the message how dangerous this disease is?
Well, it is very important, and in fact in the institutions of higher learning, it's better because the message is even readily understood and accepted. And if we, as I said, can ensure that the cohort at that level take preventive measures and ensure that they do not unnecessarily take risks which may see them infected, we believe that we will then see the reduction of the prevalence here.
The challenges that we face with ARVs, how are we looking at improving it?
Well, as government, we through, the Ministry of Science and Technology, they're looking at producing the major ingredients of drugs locally. And we think that would go a long way towards reducing the costs of the antiretroviral drugs.
A bit of a setback with the research that was done at the University of KwaZulu-Natal with the vaginal gel that was hopefully going to be rolled out to clinics later this year. What kind of a setback is it for the program?
Well, we await proper, simple explanations from the scientists and researchers, which would then be understood by all, because that is why research has its own protocols, and until they explain to us what has gone wrong, we are not really qualified to comment on that here.
I spoke to a young gentleman this week from Kenya who was HIV positive, and he had come out about his status, and he said that it's basically sometimes not HIV that kills, but the stigma that's attached. How are we doing so far as getting rid of that stigma?
Well, I think in the main, in many communities, the battle against stigmatization has been won, because it is now openly accepted that, we had this massive HCTI campaign, HCT campaign where more than 13 million people came forward to test, as well as to be screened for TB infections, and of course to be tested for other diseases as well. Yeah.
When we look at the disease and the pandemic that we're facing here in Southern Africa, with global funding having been cancelled, I did speak to the health minister earlier. What are the challenges that we're going to see as a result of this cancelled funding?
Well, the economic outlook globally is a dim one, and of course it also means reduction of funds that would be channeled towards the global fund. And that would affect particularly developing countries on the continent of Africa, ourselves included. And our challenge really is to ensure that we also improve on our efficiencies to ensure that we achieve more with the little resources that would be available to us here.
Deputy President, thank you for getting up early and joining us this morning, but we'll hear from you a little bit later today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was our Deputy President speaking. He will be on the platform with President Jacob Zuma later today, and President Jacob Zuma's speech will be broadcast live on SABC2 between 12 and 1, so stay tuned.